welcome to the Awkwardness Podcast, where we interview songwriters about why they started writing, and they play us one of the first songs they ever wrote. Then we talk about their musical journey, the twists and turns and ups and downs, and if we're lucky, they play us something new. I'm your host, Rose Sean. My co-hosts are Terence and Tony Tancredi. Today I'm coming to you from a hotel room in Little Rock, Arkansas, of all places, and for no reason other than I'm on a cross-country road trip. Let's talk about today's guest. I am very fond of this woman, personally and professionally. She's an absolute ray of sunshine. She's been a singer-songwriter since the tender age of 14. She was the singer of New York punk band Manic Pixie. She is now half of the ladies rock-inspired duo Guyville, as well as a solo artist under her own name, and she somehow finds time to curate shows and be an activist for the local LA music community. I'm talking about Kat Hamilton. We talked to Kat about all sorts, from the emotional attachment we developed to our cell phone number, to writing lyrics that may have been a little too cryptic, to a playlist specifically for the music you love but don't really listen to anymore. Stay tuned for the original high school bedroom recording of her old song and to hear about all the shit she did that could have gotten her killed. I mean, who can't relate? Let's get into our super fun chat with Kat Hamilton.
I never knew that Black Magic Woman is a Fleetwood Mac song. Did you know that?
No.
Wait, what?
Yes.
No
Peter
way.
Green, Fleetwood Mac. He wrote that song.
Wow.
On Greenie, which is now, it's a Les Paul, 59 Les Paul that now Kirk Hammett plays in Metallica.
Oh,
Wow, we all just
sweet.
went to school.
Yeah.
That's so
Damn, thank you for
crazy.
taking
My wife has taught me so much about Fleetwood
It's like
Mac.
when I
I
found
Shout out
out that
Carly.
Yeah, shout out.
Nothing Compares to You by Sinead O'Connor is written by Prince.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which,
Oh, yeah.
Apparently,
Which-
he sent her a card saying thanks.
Yeah.
When it was like a number one song, he's like, hey, thanks.
By the way, thanks for this.
He's
I
so
just-
cool.
I can't
Yeah, he is.
imagine because it sounds like her to me.
Totally.
Well,
Oh my God,
you know
that's
what,
like
though?
her song, yeah.
Once you know, I feel like if you listen to it, you can hear it.
Also, I think it was a great song for Sinead because if Prince sang it, you wouldn't believe a word of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, like there
I
are
love
some
that.
songs where one songwriter writes it and it sounds so untruthful to them.
It
And then
is
another
interesting,
singer
huh?
sings it and it sounds way more honest.
That's
You really
interesting.
believe
Yeah.
her, and like that
Yeah.
video is groundbreaking because she like sheds a single tear
Oh my
at
gosh,
the
the
end.
shaved head.
Yes.
You
R.I.P.
know?
Sinead.
I know.
R.I.P. But yeah, like I really think about that a lot. That like, you know, sometimes like the songs we listen to by artists, they didn't even write it, but like it fits them better than it ever did the songwriter. He wrote that song for Alicia Keys too, and it was the same thing where she sang it
what
so much
song?
more. He wrote oh God, it was a really heartbreaking song. I need your picture beside my bed.
Oh, that's Prince.
I still
Oh,
remember
okay.
the word you said.
I feel like I can hear that.
Oh, how come you don't want me anymore? That one.
Oh,
I can hear that as Prince.
that's
and-
nice. Yeah.
She did a way better job in terms of like it
Delivery.
would sound.
Yeah. Gosh. I mean, he writes really good songs.
He
you know?
writes really good songs. So does
Stand
Dolly
Back.
Parton. She wrote lots
Yeah.
of songs for other people.
Well, Stand Back actually was Stevie Nicks, but like he did the music for that.
Who did?
Prince.
What?
Yeah, that's those synth keyboards.
Oh my God, I'm learning so much.
You listen
Yeah,
to that
same.
track with
This
the
is
drums,
not even
and
your
you're
podcast
like,
anymore.
Oh, no.
It's music history.
This is our podcast. Our podcast is music history because we talk to amazing guests like you.
Yeah.
Kat.
I'm so happy to be here.
We're
I've
so
been like
happy to
begging
have
to
you.
get on here. I'm so excited. I'm
Yes.
so sorry. Everything's gotten so crazy today, but I'm so happy to be here.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
that's
So
good.
excited
Everything's
you're
crazy
here.
every day. That's fine.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
understand.
Tell me about it.
But yeah, so we've been talking about general music history, but we're here to talk
Should
about.
I headphone?
Yeah, music
I don't hear
history.
myself, so that's why I took them off.
You don't hear yourself? Do you hear us?
Oh,
No.
is it on?
Is that thing on?
Maybe.
Is this thing on? No, the
Oh, you're...
Turn up the volume.
here we go.
Hey.
I've got you. I've got
Is
me.
this thing on?
Ah,
Yes. Okay. Now I can hear myself.
It's
beautiful.
just a simple power
We
issue.
are
That's,
live
we're
and
so
active.
good now.
that we like the simple power issues.
Yeah.
This
We
is so
love
nice.
a
There's-
simple power issue. Yeah.
Look at
Usually-
your
they're
little
usually much more
sure
complex.
inputs. I love this.
Yeah, I bought that.
It's a sure
Just
thing.
recently. It's a sure thing.
Ha ha ha.
Dad.
Come on.
Honestly, it was
Dad,
a really
come
good
on.
investment. I'm like low key scoping it. I'm like, do
Okay,
I
good.
want
Yeah,
this?
they're like $400. It's a wired pack, not wireless.
But
it's
still,
great.
what a great
Shout out to
investment.
Shure.
Hey,
Yeah.
sure.
Give me some free
Actually,
ones.
shout out to Shure for all of our microphones.
Yeah, we're using
I love
SM7B. We are
Sure,
a studio
why
of
not?
SM7Bs.
Sure. Have you seen the videos of people like fucking up SM58s.
Oh yeah, it's
like,
you
using
can't
it as
do
a hammer and stuff.
Yeah, or like throwing it in the ocean and then singing into it, or
Wait, what?
throwing it off a building.
Yeah,
and
they're
singing
indestructible.
into it,
That's like kind of their thing.
running it over with a car.
Yeah.
I've seen that a couple
Wow.
times. Putting it in
It
the
is- it is
microwave.
the best live
People
mic
would
ever.
use that to like hammer the stage together.
Yeah. But yeah, so if you ever feel like watching some interesting shit, just like go online and search like SM58 run over with a car.
yeah.
Like anything you can think of. Blow
So
it
it's
up.
not for some sort of sound effect. It's just to prove that they don't break.
They're truly.
It's to
Oh,
prove that you
no.
can use it after.
Got
Yeah.
it.
You could get some cool sound effects.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So like I saw someone microwave it
Jesus.
and then like it was like partially melted.
What?
Still sang into
But
it.
it's metal. Did it explode? That's so metal, first of all.
Yeah, it is.
Second of all, it is actual metal. Did it explode the microwave?
No.
I would think it would have damaged the
Those
microwave.
mics are magic.
Yeah.
They're magic
See?
mics.
Magic
They're magic
mics.
mics. It's why you don't get like a PG-58,
Yeah.
even though it's like $20 less.
I thought you were going to say that's why you don't get a PG-13 rating because they're magic mics.
Oh, they don't.
They get-
That's not PG-13.
They're restricted.
I've seen that.
Oh, we
Yeah.
all have.
It's
God bless
not-
what's his nuts. What's his name again?
What's his name?
Matthew McConaughey.
Tatum?
Yeah.
Channing
All
Tatum?
the-
What's
yeah,
funny
Channing-
is that you
Channing
say
Tatum,
what's his nuts
Tatum.
and there's two different answers that pop out.
Well, I mean,
It's
there
just
could
like,
be. There's 4 possibilities
Yeah.
as far
You knew
as
I was talking about. Sir Tatum.
Sir Tatum.
Sir
I
Tatum.
mean, I fuck with Channing Tatum.
So
Yeah.
Channing.
He's bisexual, and I love that.
Oh, is he?
He's also
Yeah.
hilarious.
He's hilarious. He's bisexual.
21 Jump Street.
Yeah.
He's
And the other
funny.
He's a very decent actor too for being such
Yeah.
such a like pretty
Like a hot
guy.
dude.
Kind of a himbo.
Himbo.
Yeah, but like
Himbo. Can
yeah.
we say that?
I think so.
so.
Okay, good. Himbo. I like
I mean,
it.
we
It
mean it.
basically
We mean
is
it in
like
a nice
Channing
way. Channing.
Tatum.
Yeah.
He would have been good in the Barbie movie.
He would have been great.
He
in the
would have
Barbie
been a
movie.
very decent Ken
Whoa, whoa,
for
whoa, whoa,
sure.
whoa.
Well, just as part of Ken's
Gosling
entourage.
killed it.
Oh, no.
Gosling
No.
was perfect.
I don't want Gosling to be replaced, but
Yeah.
there was a lot of Kens in that movie.
There were
Exactly.
a lot
There
of
would've been
Kens.
room
You know
for
what?
another
Missed
Ken.
opportunity.
Missed opportunity to
Yeah.
have a Tatum.
Kind of would have been. It kind of would have been funny if the like main rival Ken was also like a handsome like buff blonde guy.
Yeah.
You know, like they were like that similar to where
Like it doesn't matter.
it's like
Yeah.
different eras of Ken too. Because Alan, of course, is like the
I
the
love
old version.
Alan.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
I actually
Is that Michael Cera's character?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
had had one that was my mom's.
You had an Alan?
Yeah, and then like I got all these hand me down Barbies from I think like my babysitters or something, and the 1980s Ken is so beefy. I mean, he's basically like He-Man without the loincloth.
That's
like,
funny.
this would never work out legally, but it'd be funny if like Barbie and the Bratz were
my
existing in the
gosh.
same plane.
If Barbie met the Bratz,
Yeah.
it would be really different. I don't think the Bratz would vibe with Barbie.
No, I feel like there would be a lot of conflict.
They would be mean girls
There'd be
for
beef.
sure. It would be like,
I mean, it's in the name.
yeah. I mean, they are brats, and I have them.
They are
Right,
Bratz.
That's
Oh, I get
accurate.
it.
Accurate naming.
I get
One
it.
one question before we get back to you: have you seen the Bratz movie?
I
Bratz
have
movie?
listened to the "How Did This Get Made" of it, but I have not seen it.
That's better.
Well,
The
I-
craziest thing about the Bratz is that the soundtrack, all the original movie music for the movie, is sang by like legit adult women. Mm-hmm. But the Bratz are very much like not even teenagers, they're like preteens in the movie,
They're teenagers. They're in high school.
and then they don't match. The voices don't match.
That's really
So,
funny.
hey, funny story about teenagers. I got this from the Keith Richards book. Teenager is a marketing term. It never existed before marketing people were like, how do we name this demographic and sell to them? Isn't that wild?
That is
like the term
super wild.
teenager didn't exist.
Doesn't
until
that make
they
They had to
sense?
make it to sell stuff.
It makes sense to me. Like, you know, everyone wants to be called something.
Yeah.
Like people want identity.
Like when you give a neighborhood a name, all of a sudden the
Yeah.
housing value goes up.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Well, I think that just to segue off of that, I think that is
What's
kind of
this podcast about?
well. I think that's
Everything.
like
Real estate.
the concept of the concept of teenagerhood has sort of given
Ooh.
us
What's
this,
that neighborhood like?
this period. The teenager, it is chaotic.
yeah.
Yeah.
Noisy.
It is very chaotic. But the concept of teenagerhood has kind of given us this stage of life where we do things like start playing music. Hey.
Yeah.
Who plays music here? Show of hands.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey,
okay.
everybody
I
raise
Cat
do.
raise your hand, yeah.
It's embarrassing.
But yeah, we were kind of talking about music history, but like, let's get real specific about
To
like
my
your,
history?
your musical
Yes, please.
history.
Yes.
Yay! I'm so happy to
So
be here.
you are originally from where?
Bay Area.
Bay Area. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So I grew up in Marin County.
415.
Yep, I'm a 415. I've
Represent.
kept my 415 number the whole time.
Nice.
Never changed it.
Well done.
It's important.
It's
yeah.
very important to me. Like, I think if I had to change my phone number, I would like have like a full-on episode
Let's
over
not do
it.
that.
There's
No.
probably people from
Oh, yeah.
like way back in your life that have that
Because
memorized.
it's just like, yeah.
Oh yeah. No,
I
I've-
also just, I can't. I've had my phone number since I was 14 and I'm 31.
pretty long time.
17 years.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
Yeah, I mean, you can't change it now because then like
Yeah.
nobody would know how to get in touch with you.
And like, I know that no one memorizes their numbers anymore.
Yeah, it's
Anyways.
just you click someone's name now.
But
I know
like-
it's true.
Right, but I
So
mean,
easy.
everybody's got that shit programmed. So,
Oh man, do you think they're gonna do away with phone numbers and just have social media accounts?
I would die.
I would die too.
I need my phone. Not
Yeah.
my social, like, it's not about texting. I need to call.
You're a
Yeah.
phone call person.
Oh, I am the phone call person.
I like
Interesting.
phone calls. It's a lost
Interesting.
art.
I was gonna say I feel like more and more people are like, oh God, don't call me.
I'm just
Nowadays,
not
yeah.
that.
Like if I get a phone call, I'm like, oh my gosh, is someone
Who
dying?
died?
when I'm
Well, I guess
ready,
not
when ready
recently.
for it, it's nice. It's like, oh, you're talking to somebody.
Yeah,
Yes.
It does feel nice.
Says the old Gen Xer.
I mean,
in
I
the
like
crew.
it. Like I talk to like my mom, my sister, like my best friends from back home. I don't really phone talk much with.
You
I guess
don't phone
you know
talk
you know
much?
what.
Rose is too hip.
Great.
You don't need the phone call. No, like when I moved to LA, I was single. And so when I started dating around a bit, I would like meet people on Hinge and be like, can we just talk on the phone for a while
Aw.
before we
Yeah, see if we vibe.
It's a
Get
good,
dinner.
it's
That's
a good
nice.
test, honestly.
Yeah.
it went way better. I mean, I'm partnered with someone who wasn't any of those people, but like my partner also really likes phone calls, and
Oh, that's good.
we started with phone calls as well. I
That's
just think
a
it's
good-
such a
That's
good way.
nice.
Compatibility test.
And I'm kind of a person who's like, okay, you ever look back at pictures of people you dated and go, you know, they weren't quite as good looking as I thought they were.
Should have never dated.
And that's me because it's so much more about the mental. Mm-hmm. So I'll go back and I'll look at the picture. I'm like, that does not reflect my experience of that person.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
looked very different to me at the time.
Yeah, they looked
Yep,
different through
totally
the
get
eyes
that.
of my like mental attraction, my mental excitement
Yeah.
for who
That's
they were.
interesting.
Yeah.
And
love that.
then I like go down a rabbit hole with myself. I'm like, is someone at this very moment showing a picture of me in a bar to someone else, being like, "This is my ex," and that person's going like, "Ooh."
I doubt it. First of all, they're probably not doing
Yeah.
that, but second of all, they wouldn't be cringing.
Thank you. But yeah, so phone calls are big for me. I think that I don't know how we got on this topic.
Well,
but-
because you like to communicate, you like to tell a
415.
story.
I'm a
'Cause you're from the
415.
Bay Area.
Yeah.
Let's
I
bring it back
am.
to the Bay.
So I grew up in Marin County, where Star Wars was filmed. That's like
Oh,
the
that's
famous part.
Right.
Oh yes.
So like people don't realize that the really old Star Wars movies, because like it wasn't like we do now with Mandalorian, where they're going and filming all over the world.
Or just in one big LCD screen, LED screen.
LED screen, right? Or like it like the redwoods near my house, like that was a huge part of.
That was
Yeah.
Endor.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so
That's
I
so
actually
cool.
knew George Lucas growing up.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And he doesn't want anyone to bug him.
Is he like a neighbor? Is
He's
that-
not a neighbor. He's in the town.
Yeah.
So like I grew up in kind of a celebrity retirement town.
Oh wow.
So you see
Marin
people from
County.
time to time, but no one wants to be bothered.
Oh yeah.
Those are retired.
No,
And
you,
they're all usually assholes, except for Robin Williams. May he rest in peace.
Yes.
He was the
Gosh.
nicest person.
Oh,
in
you
the
know
world.
what? I
I
saw him
bet.
do comedy
The
in that
nicest person
in
in
that
the world.
town. My godfather and his partner lived there.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, but it is wild. It's like this really cute small town full of like a lot of very rich and famous people.
Yeah, like the richest people in the world,
yeah.
but they want to be left
That's
alone,
sweet.
you know, which is understandable.
That's interesting. So you were kind of in like a somewhat creative community, just like by osmosis.
Yeah, and like Fleetwood Mac, they
Yeah.
recorded in Sausalito. That's
That's right.
a skip from my
Rumors.
parents' house.
It's beautiful there.
Janis Joplin's house is there. There's like this whole underbelly of music history in Marin County itself because of the like big exodus from San Francisco post like the hippie Woodstock movement.
Yeah.
So this is like post 60s. It's like
Yeah, like
early
the 80s.
70s.
Well, like when the
80s, yeah.
Yeah,
When
the
the
80s when
rock bands
everyone
got
started
money.
leaving
Right.
for a lot of reasons. Mainly, I mean, this is like somber, but like the HIV epidemic caused a mass exodus from San Francisco.
How sad.
Due to misconceptions of what people thought
Right.
Yeah.
Oh
Gosh,
God, that is
yeah.
sad.
and wanting to get space from HIV epidemic related violence and people not feeling their kids were safe in the city.
Oh, Jesus.
And so there was a huge boom in the suburbs
Well, we
of wealthy people.
And it never really came back, huh? San Francisco. No, I mean like San
Yeah.
Francisco, like
It never
the city.
really-
Yeah,
the
it's
spirit of
true.
it.
And now it's just one giant Uber.
Yeah, yeah. It's just tech bros all
It's tech
day.
bros. And so it's really had this weird transformation as someone who grew up right next to it and watching it change. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
gosh.
because I was born and moved out to the city in 91. My brother lived in the city till I was born. And he was born in 86. And so he and my parents lived in an apartment on Clement, and he kept faking his own death. So when they had me, they moved to the suburbs.
What?
My
You gotta
brother
double
would
back on
open
it.
the doors or open the windows of the apartment and go hide somewhere and scare the crap out of my parents.
Wow.
Yeah. Or he would
Oh.
turn on all the burners.
No. Oh my
Wow,
goodness.
that's a serious attention-seeking behavior. My
Yeah,
goodness.
so they were like, we're moving to the suburbs.
They're
Okay.
like, something
First
is not
story.
right.
Yeah.
First floor.
Oh
yeah,
my God.
so
Yeah.
they moved to the suburbs when I was born, like right when I was born, and they still have their house in Marin. And it was pennies when they moved there because it wasn't
Probably.
chic
Right.
Oh wow.
like it is now. Like they paid like $250,000.
Oh my God.
Probably
That's
like $2 million.
inconceivable.
Yeah, 4 or 5.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah.
What a good investment.
That's
know.
a great investment. That's the American dream. Right
Yeah, and no one knew, you know, everyone was like kind of negging them about it. Like,
Yeah.
oh, like it's so like shitty
man.
over there. And,
That's so funny.
you know, now it's like,
And now the boomers are like, what, you can't buy a house?
yeah, what's wrong with you? Buy a house. No big deal.
Here's what you do. You go back in time 40 years, buy a house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you
There you
leave
go.
in the
That's easy.
late 80s
Yeah.
once like
So your parents are smart investors, but
They are.
like, what are they like as people? Were they like, did they like put you in piano lessons, or are they arty people, or?
yeah, so my parents are totally weird. Sorry, mom and dad, if you're listening, you're
No,
gonna
shout
listen.
out weird
Shout out.
parents.
They listen to
Yeah.
everything I do.
Yeah.
That's good.
So
They're my
good.
biggest
That's
Hello,
fans.
Mom and
We like
Dad.
supportive parents.
They're big teenagers. They're super bubbly, super outgoing, super open and accepting people. Always have been. I grew up kind of in like a chaotic home full of like rotating door of strangers coming and living with us. So a lot of like doors open, fridges open, take what you need people, which is cool. My dad's a real estate attorney. And my mom works for him as an assistant, but she used to have her own construction company and teach at UC Berkeley.
Oh,
wow.
nice.
Oh, cool. What does she teach?
She taught business.
Very cool.
Just kind of like basic business classes, business 101s for people.
Nice.
And then she got sick and ended up becoming more in a stay-at-home role. And my dad ended up working more. So that was when I was like 9. And so everything sort of shifted. And then my dad was gone all the time. My mom was at home all the time. But yeah, and then I have an older brother who's a chef. And I have an adopted sister who's also a chef.
So is the
Nice.
brother who's a chef, is that the guy with the burners?
Yeah.
The one that
Pattern.
Yeah,
That's
speaking
hilarious.
sometimes.
Are
Yeah.
you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
some straight up chef behavior. You
That's
meet all of
yes.
them and you're like, you all like, it was prisoner chef. That's so
What about
true.
both?
You can ask them, like,
I was
prisoner
gonna
chef.
I was going to say,
hilarious.
I'm pretty sure
That's a
I
TV
know
show.
some chefs who have done prison time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really common actually.
Oh,
Prisoner
really?
chef.
It's
Yeah.
it's a whole personality.
Yeah, it's a whole personality type. So my brother's a chef. He's an executive chef. And my sister's a pastry chef.
Oh, neat.
And my brother lives in Utah, but he's moving to Boston in a few weeks. And my sister, she lives at home in a tiny house in my parents' backyard.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Yeah, I used to live in it.
Oh,
Nice.
cool.
It's not too shabby.
It's the it's instead of the mother-in-law suite, it's
Yeah.
the like errant child suite.
It is. It is the errant child suite. My brother's lived in it. My brother lived in it with his ex-wife for a while. Random people have lived in it.
Cool.
Man, I wish I
I
had a
heard
tiny
like
house.
Rumors was recorded there.
Yeah, Rumors was totally recorded
In
there.
the little guest house, yeah.
Yeah.
So wait.
Oh, sorry,
Let's
okay.
get back to
Me. Ooh.
Yeah, within all of this, music
Yeah, so what's
percolating in your
yeah,
mind.
how in this environment did you kind of start thinking about like playing music? Was it like music lessons? Did you just
I popped out with it.
With a guitar?
Yeah, just
It must have hurt.
yeah, my poor mom. She's like, thank God for C-section. No, so my parents had a rule. Their only rule, they were really hands-off parents because they both grew up in really stressful home environments
Yeah.
and really difficult dynamics with their parents. So I think they were having a corrective experience through how they parented us. And, you know, every parent fucks up their kid in some way. That's just inevitable. But they did a pretty good job. And one of the things was they were like, okay, like every semester you have to have one activity. That's all you need, one. You know, if you want to spend the rest of your time playing and riding bikes around the neighborhood and causing chaos, or if you want to stay home and read a book, or you want to sit on the couch and watch TV, that's your business, but you have one extracurricular. And that way, no matter what we quit, we had to replace it with something.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I thought those could be the extracurricular, like.
No, fortunately.
It had to be
an actual
scholastically
one.
approved.
Yeah, so my brother was baseball for a long time, and I came out right out of the gate with music.
Nice.
Like I was singing in my crib, and so they started me, I think like I was doing like dance lessons that I hated, and I did piano lessons that I hated, but then I did singing lessons that I loved, and then I did choir. And yeah, it was just that one extracurricular. And every time I quit something, they're like, okay, what are you going to replace it with this time?
Yeah.
You know, what are we going to try? I hated Girl Scouts. That lasted very short amount of time. And I didn't love kids stuff either. I wasn't a huge fan of kid activities. So I think music really suited me because it allowed me to engage in the world around me.
Nice.
That wasn't just kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was singing in particular.
Singing in
Like, what
particular was
kind
the
of stuff?
beginning. Oh gosh, well I started like making up songs in my crib.
Yeah, like I mean, was there like any kind of music you're listening to that?
Yeah, my first, let's see. I mean, of course, like Backstreet Boys, Britney
Yeah.
Spears, Christina Aguilera. I was like right in TRL magic,
Nice.
Oh man, me too.
and
Those
I'm
were the
so
days.
grateful.
TRL. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful I lived through that.
Carson Daly, you
Yeah.
stunning son of a bitch.
I know those black nails.
Yeah. Oh man.
I know, right? But so I loved that. You know, I loved Christina Aguilera and singing along, and Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey. But I loved the Men in Black soundtrack.
Oh yeah.
I loved Will Smith.
Yeah.
I loved Big Willie style.
Yeah.
And then I started getting into different kinds of music that weren't just for like my peers. Almost Famous was like my favorite movie.
Yeah.
And so I got really into like Led Zeppelin and like all the music from the movie, lots of Elton John in my house. And my dad really liked the Eagles.
I love the Eagles.
We listened to a lot of the Eagles, and he loves Jimmy Buffett.
Oh wow, nice.
He's a Tommy Bahama for sure. My mom, she listened to a lot of Christian music, but I feel like they took us to the Rolling Stones concert really early.
Oh wow.
Because my mom loved the Stones. That's her band. She actually followed them on tour a little bit when she was in high school
Oh wow.
sweet.
Oh,
Very
wow.
cool.
and worked as a music reporter in college for a bit too.
Oh, that's cool.
Did she ever get to interview them?
She got to go on a date with Rod Stewart once.
Oh, nice.
What? Oh my God.
Was it pre or
Swoon.
post Yard? What was his? No, he was in Face, right?
The
I have no
Faces.
idea. She
Faces.
was probably, I mean, she had just started college.
Wow. He was probably like,
And they went to
I'll
a
go on.
pub.
Yay.
Apparently, he was very respectful, very nice, kind of quiet.
Yeah.
That surprises me.
Yeah.
The quiet part.
The quiet part is surprising.
Yeah.
He might have just been tired.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure
Right.
being famous is like really exhausting.
I know you're just talking all the time.
Yeah, you're just talking all the time. I'm sure you're just like
Meeting people.
never want to
Yeah.
speak
all the
another
time.
word
Yeah.
again. But yeah, so I was listening to like stuff that my more parents' generation, stuff of my peers. My friend Bianca Biglin,
Shout out, BB.
she actually I think was not doing great. Hopefully she's all right. Prayers for Bianca. So she and I were friends in like the 4th grade, and we started a pop duo. Where we wrote our own songs and performed on the schoolyard called
Yes.
Leather Hearts.
Yeah.
Just like
Leather
singing?
hearts.
Just singing.
Nice.
And dancing, obviously.
Yeah, and dancing.
duh.
Singing and dancing.
Leather hearts.
Leather Hearts.
Any
That's
instruments?
kind of hardcore for 4th graders.
No
Totally.
instruments. We would just take Backstreet Boys melodies and add different lyrics.
Oh, totally.
Nice.
Yeah.
So acapella.
Yeah, a cappella
Nice.
and do
Perfect.
dance moves and
That's so cool.
Gosh, do you
Yeah.
remember any of your lyrics?
it's a crazy world I'm living in. I am upside down and outside in. And then it went like,
Yes.
save me from this world I'm in. Before I die, I. That was the chorus.
Yeah.
I remember it.
Oh my God, I love it. No, it's actually really
That is
fire,
it.
but I'm just like, you were in 4th grade at this point?
Yeah, we were in 4th grade.
That's
and
awesome.
I wrote all the lyrics, and Bianca made up all the dance moves.
Oh my God.
Wow. Yeah, the leather hearts had leather.
She was very sexualized for a 4th grader. She was already wearing belly shirts, lip gloss.
Oh goodness.
That
Yeah.
that was the look then, right? Was that the Britney look?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
she told me about sex for the first time. That was her.
Oh.
Oh, really?
That
4th
friend.
grade?
It was that friend. Yeah, 4th grade.
When you're like, why would anyone ever do that?
Yeah.
Ew.
I know. It was
Well,
really gross.
objectively, it does sound pretty gross.
It sounds
And-
disgusting,
Yeah.
but Titanic's my favorite movie, and so all I knew of sex was that scene.
was the
Yeah.
car.
The car, the
Oh,
steamy
man,
car.
which is pretty
And
sexy.
So I had it explained to me what
Like,
happened
what
in
are
the
they
car.
doing?
Oh, God.
Why does the hand go?
Yeah. Iconic moment.
Honestly,
Yeah.
Iconic film
I still
moment.
watch it like every year on my birthday. It brings me so much joy. I'm obsessed still. My parents had the 2-tape set, you know, the VHS set.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you
And-
got to put in tape 2.
I think we had it on
Tape,
Laserdisc.
like, yeah, it's
And tape 2 has all the sex, death, and nudity.
hilarious. So you just
So you
watch
just-
tape 1.
So they just would show me tape 1, and they're like, "You're not allowed to watch tape 2."
And then they lived happily ever after.
Yeah.
Right? And
Nobody
so
died.
One time they were out running an errand, and I was left home with my brother and
tape 2.
our housekeeper. And tape 2 happened. I put it in. I watched it. You know, Eve gave Adam the apple, and he bit, and now they're both naked. And I'm just like,
my
what's
God.
happening? You know what I mean? Like my
He's
whole brain
drawing
exploded.
her. That's right. He paints her.
Like one of his French girls.
Yep.
Right. That's
And-
where that comes from, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
Oh, that's
And so they
right.
came home, my parents, and I was like, they were like, "Hi, honey," and I was like, "I watched Titanic tape number 2."
You just told on yourself immediately.
All the burners turn on.
Like, I've learned too much. Take me
How-
back.
See the other side.
Yeah.
How old were you?
Like 8.
Oh yeah, that checks
No.
out. Where you like feel so guilty
Yeah.
about like
for sure.
knowing these things you know you're not supposed to know.
And then, you know,
so
Bianca gave me an
funny.
education about what happened in the car and, you know.
But it's so funny. So nothing about the boat going down, all the people dying. It was just the sex scene. It was like the
I
worst
mean,
one.
the people dying was hard too.
Yeah.
I'm sure I was like,
And why couldn't he fit on the
Yeah.
door with her? You
well,
know.
it actually has to do more
Buoyancy.
with buoyancy
Yeah.
and hypothermia than anything else.
So yeah, there's a whole.
In order
there's many
to-
articles about this, I know, but still.
In order to maintain your ability to stay on the door for I think it was 2 hours in real life, how long it took for them to be found, you would have had to switch back and forth in order to make it work.
Like one goes in the water and one stays on the board.
Yeah, because you could be
And
on
she
it
couldn't do
together,
that.
but it would have submerged the board.
Right, they would have
And
been
then
too
they
low.
both get wet.
And they both
freezing.
get wet. And your
Yeah.
exposure to the cold water is what sped up the hypothermia. And that's how Rose survived, was not being exposed to the cold water for as long as everyone else.
Way to go, Rose.
Way to go, Rose. You're right
Yeah.
here. To this day,
And now
you
she
made
has a
it.
podcast.
Now she has a podcast.
Yeah, I
Rocking
survived.
us.
I survived for 110 more years to make
do a
this
podcast.
podcast.
Good job.
Yeah.
Sorry, let's get back to my journey.
Yes.
Yeah.
My bad.
No, this is good.
So when did you pick up the guitar?
So 6th grade, my brother got me my first guitar.
What was it?
It was a Johnson
Oh, yeah. Acoustic?
acoustic
Yeah.
guitar.
Nice.
And then I got this one in 7th grade.
Which one's that? It's turned around. I
Taylor.
can't see it. Oh, a Taylor. Which one?
100,
Those are
Ooh.
nice.
7th grade.
Okay.
We'll take a picture for
I
show
have a
notes.
love-hate relationship with it, to be honest.
What do you love about it? What do you hate about
I'm
it?
not a Taylor girl, but it's so special, and I've had it for like the majority of my life. So I feel like if I got rid of it, I'm like being like disrespectful.
Right.
Yeah. I
But
feel
I'm a
you, though.
Martin girl.
Yeah.
Martins
if we
are
had to
pretty
talk about acoustic
sweet.
guitars,
The Taylor sounds a little more worshipy.
yeah,
and the
it
Martin
does
sounds a little
sound like
more
cool
like-
guy church.
like, yeah,
and it
duh.
drives me crazy.
Cool Guy Church.
Cool
Well,
Guy
I think
Church.
all those guys used a Taylor though. That was the
But
church
Martins
guitar
are
for a sec.
darker?
They're
Is that-
darker and more like gritty, and they sound
Yeah.
more full somehow.
Like more like Johnny Cash.
There
Yes.
we- yeah.
So I'm slow stealing my bandmate's Martin right now. I'm in the process
don't-
of it.
don't tell him.
Oh, she knows. She keeps forgetting she lent it to me.
Oh, that's so funny. He knows now.
She knows now.
What made you choose guitar, by the way?
My brother got me my first guitar, and I wanted to write songs, and I hated my piano lessons. But
Right.
in my defense, my piano teacher only taught me House of the Rising Sun for like 6 months.
There's only so many times that house can rise in the sun.
Yeah, it rose way too many times.
Yeah,
I was bored. She smelled weird.
Yeah.
She was really old. And it just didn't jive. So my brother bought me a guitar. I started guitar lessons and I started writing songs.
Were
Immediately.
there like guitarists that you liked and, you know?
Not really, just musicians I really loved. Like
Yeah.
6th and 7th grade, Green Day came into my life.
Yes.
Lots of Green Day.
Oh my gosh.
All the Green Day.
Oh, so wait, that song was out with the acoustic.
Yeah.
The Time of Your
Your
Life.
Life.
Yeah.
So Green Day and like Good Charlotte. I listened to a lot of Good Charlotte. And then I was listening to a lot of Nirvana.
Yes.
A lot of Nirvana. Yeah, I would just wanted to write songs. And so I started playing the guitar and, you know, I would kind of make up my own chords.
Oh, interesting.
So
cool.
when I was actually going back to figure out like childhood songs for this podcast, so much like unintentional alternate tunings
Oh yeah.
on my end.
That's
like,
fun. So you
That's
just
pretty
kind of
cool,
mess
though.
around, like turn the knobs.
no, I just wouldn't tune.
Oh,
Oh, and then like figure
like-
out a chord that sounded good.
Yeah.
Whoa, that sounds pretty cool. Actually.
Yeah,
So
it
then
was
you could truly
fun.
write something unique.
It was that. I was looking back, I'm like, how am I going to teach myself this? Like,
Yeah.
it's not in tune and it doesn't make sense in tune. I can't just change,
Yeah.
you know, and I had all these weird, I have no idea what I was playing, but, you know, I was just playing around.
Are there any recordings of that stuff, or was that way too early in your journey?
Like one of the ones I'm going to show you today is like later, a few years later, but like it's the same thing.
Okay,
Like,
yeah.
I did that for a long time.
nice.
That's interesting. The accidental alternate tuning. I mean, how did you even reverse engineer that to play it today?
I mean, luckily I just picked the one that was like
Oh, okay.
closest to just an open tuning or like a
Right.
standard, just, you know, chill.
Yeah.
But there were other things where I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck this is. And so I was telling Tony that I was really excited to hop on like this concept because when I was a freshman in high school, I recorded my own album in GarageBand
Yes.
Nice.
Shout
of
out
all my
GarageBand.
songs. Some of them are like 8 minutes long.
Nice. You know what?
Epics. And they were all about a boy I liked. And then I gave him a burned CD of it because I was out gigging starting like my freshman year of high
Wow.
school.
Very cool. Up in Marin County?
Up in Marin. There's lots of coffee shops.
Nice.
Lots of like geezer hippie spots.
Oh, they must have loved it. Like
They
you know,
did, yeah. And I made a lot of like weird adult friends. But my music program at my high school had like showcases. So I like gave the CD to the guy I liked and I was like, can you listen to it and tell me which song I should play in the showcase?
Oh, that was kind of bold, honestly.
Yeah.
I thought I was being bold. I went back and listened to it and nothing makes sense. There's no way anyone would know that was about them.
Oh,
Like it doesn't sound like it's about anything.
that's
so he's like
gotcha.
track
I thought I was
three.
being
Yeah.
so sneaky. And it's,
and well, you were being sneaky.
And I was.
Apparently.
Totally.
Too
Yeah.
sneaky.
Too
Too
sneaky.
sneaky.
Too sneaky.
and people don't usually cross the senior freshman divide anyway.
Yeah.
Like
It is a great divide.
that is a
yeah.
lofty dream.
It's far.
That's some like Lewis and Clark shit. Right?
Yeah, like you're not. That senior guy's not looking at you. And I was. That was the year I was really into the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. I became
Yeah.
a super fan.
Yeah.
Absolute super fan. I had cutouts of Nick Zinner all over my walls because he was like my crush.
Aw.
You know, and now I look back at him, I'm like, he looks like a literal Halloween skeleton on a porch, like shivering in the wind.
And you know what? Mad respect.
But I loved it. But yeah, like I had like the black hair, the black nails,
cute.
and hadn't developed yet. So there's no way this guy was going to like magically see me.
Unless it was like one of those teenage dirtbag moments.
I'm just a teenage dirtbag baby.
baby.
Yeah, and I had pimples and braces, and
The whole teenage package. Is
I
what
had
you're
the
saying.
whole package, and they made it worse. You know?
Made it
worse. I
Made
don't
it
know.
made
I
it
think
worse
it's
by
like
dyeing my hair
looking
black.
back, it's cringy to us because we're super vulnerable in those moments, which I think is really endearing. But then we look back and we're like, oh my God, I look like that. But it's just like, but at the time, you had your heart on your sleeve and you were kind of like, this is who I
Totally.
am.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's super endearing.
Right,
So I
you're
don't
trying
know.
to live your own truth.
Yeah.
And like you always want, you know, growing up, you always want your fashion to reflect what you're into.
Oh yeah.
Right,
So
right.
important.
So important to match like everything you listen to or everything you watch.
Right.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I too also wore all black and had the black.
Yes.
That was a
We
vibe
would've been
for a
friends.
sec. Yeah, totally.
Oh my God.
Had the bangs. You
You
know,
had
the
a goth.
the
Oh, you're a
bangs.
What?
It wasn't really
Kind of
goth.
bangs.
It was more scene. Yeah, it was more like
Oh,
Tony
Tony.
was
black
a
was
scene
cool.
kid.
Yeah. Oh, I was total
Wow.
scene kid. It was so annoying.
I didn't realize I was emo until like
Like now.
like
Until
right
just,
realized
now.
in
4
this
weeks ago, you're like,
room.
wait a
Just
minute.
right now. I just
This
had a
moment.
moment, you guys. I think I'm emo.
And we're all like, no
I'm wearing
shit.
Converse. I've got ripped jeans and swoopy hair.
Emo for
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
So let's
Yeah.
go back. Sorry, everyone.
Take it back.
Okay, so we're talking about guitar and writing songs. So yeah, I was making up my own shit. I went to guitar lessons, and my guitar teacher was like this cool guy, and he was on tour all the time, and he would tell me all his stories. And I started kind of developing this thing where I preferred being around adults a lot. So I made a lot of adult friends as I was playing gigs out.
How old are you at this point?
14, 15, playing at coffee shops, meeting other, I just felt more like comfortable around adults.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still had my teen friends, but it just started whittling away because our interests were so different, and your interests drive everything at that age.
Oh yeah.
True.
It's all about interests.
Yeah.
great.
Well,
Would-
there's something about like kind of having some sort of mind toward like maybe a career at that point too, where yeah, it kind of already puts you in this different strata from your peers because they're just thinking about like homework or going to the mall or whatever, and you're thinking about like, oh, I have this thing I might do forever.
Yeah, because you're
Yeah.
playing shows. Did you put songs up on MySpace or anything? Or
I
like,
did
yeah.
later, yeah. A few years later when it started happening. I
Okay.
put songs up on MySpace. Like I said, I was like tinkering in GarageBand, made that whole album, which
Yeah,
you'll hear
yeah,
a
yeah.
song off today.
Yes.
That's so crazy. But yeah, like music hit me really hard right away. It actually ended up becoming a struggle in my adult life to navigate because I had been in the same thing for so long and going on a journey of, do I love it or have I just always been here?
It's a good question. to
Yeah,
ask,
I identify with that.
Yeah, like do you love it or have you just always been there?
Do I love it or is it just the identity I've assumed for myself?
Yeah, or do I just need it in order to feel seen, or do I just need it to
Right.
feel valid?
Right.
Or have I invested so much in it that there's no turning around? Like these are adult questions that came to me as somebody who signed up for this life very early,
Yeah. Saturn returns too. These are
Yep,
very
my Saturn return and hit me in the
That's
face.
it. Yeah.
I was about to say something else.
Those are some very Saturn return
what were you gonna say?
questions.
The vagina.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Directly in the vagina.
You know, I gotta say same.
That's okay.
It really, that's where it gets you, Saturn returns.
Man, yeah, that sounds rough.
Yes.
I want to talk Liz Fair.
Oh
and
yeah, because
stuff.
of my duo.
Yeah, but but let's stay where we are now, because you mentioned all these influences, but you hadn't gotten to Liz Fair yet.
Well, what's interesting is the 90s stuff that I fell in love with was sort of a circle back in my adulthood.
Oh god.
Even though I
same.
did fuck really hard with like women singer-songwriters that took from those singer-songwriters. Like I watched a lot of Top 20 Video Countdown. And so I was like knee deep in some Michelle Branch, some
Natalie
Sarah
Imbruglia.
Bareilles, some Natalie Imbruglia, my homegirl. Then I circled back to everyone before them. Like I told you, Nirvana and I
Yeah.
started very early.
Yeah.
But I think that like internalized misogyny was really in the structure of society at the time I was growing up as a girl.
yeah.
Because I was really fighting against like pictures of womanhood.
Like being too into things
And-
that were girly.
Yeah,
'cause
and
that's
leaning
lame.
into the masculinity. I was always leaning into masculinity and just like really fighting that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you think about like the ways that like the press covered, Britney Spears and sort of just her life and her struggles, it's like really emblematic of how negatively we just culturally viewed anything that was like too feminine.
Yes. And it's weird to think that I could have been like singing Britney in 5th grade, like, and that's such a huge part of like building that interest in my like lifelong passion. And then flash forward 2 years and I hate Britney. She's
Right.
a bitch. I hate her.
Yeah. And like, can you believe she's having sex with Justin?
Can you believe?
Yes.
And so the rejection of feminine hit real hard for me too. And so I had to circle my way back, I think.
Do you have the experience of like a lot of bands that you loved at that time and maybe still love, you just kind of don't listen to anymore?
I have a special playlist for it, actually.
Yeah.
What's it called?
It says "Don't look in here."
It's called.
Don't look back.
I think it's called Winter Break 2007.
Yeah, of course it is.
And it has like all the music from a certain time. You know, it's got all that stuff on it. And it's interesting because if you do, like, not to get psychobabble, blah, 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 but there's a lot of evidence that backs up that we keep a very specific emotional sense memory of a certain period in our life. And so everything we listened to, everything we consumed will always trigger those emotions no matter how old you get.
Oh, I think
And they'll
that's
use
true.
certain music from when people were like ages 13 to 16 to recover memories in people with Alzheimer's and dementia.
Wow.
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
Because it'll feel the most intense.
that makes
Yeah.
100%
Oh, that
sense
totally
to me.
tracks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're always going to come back to it forever because it's during what's called the identity period, where we're building. Essentially, we're collecting evidence to like what does it mean to create identity as a human.
Love it.
Right.
And that's why we're just regurgitating on the outside whatever we're taking in.
And that's 13 to 17, you said? So that's high
That's-
school.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's
Formative.
literally like, in my opinion, why, movies and TV shows about high school kids just will forever be popular because that was such an important period of time for basically everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's an inescapable brain thing.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter if you liked high school, didn't like high school, like
It
cool,
marked
not
ya.
cool. Like you are always going to be able to tap into those emotions because of the time period.
Wow. So, did you put out this record that you made in GarageBand?
No, I just gave it to that one guy.
And nobody else?
Let's call him
No.
up.
And then us today.
Let's call him up, Kevin Curlin. We're friends on Facebook.
Oh, shouting him out,
Shout out
Kevin Curlin.
Kevin, send us
Yeah.
that album. We want to put in show notes.
I have it. I can just give it to you.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Never mind,
nice.
Kevin to send it. No,
Kevin, we don't need
Thank you anyways, Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin and I got coffee my senior year of high school, and he was a few years into college. And I told him.
Oh, you told
I
us.
was like, remember that CD I gave you? It was all about you.
Was he
What-
surprised?
And he was
Yeah.
like, that's so cool. Thank you.
Aw.
Yeah, it was really
That's adorable.
sweet.
All right,
That's
I
a
like
very
Kevin
graceful way to
I
accept
mean, I was
that.
a kid. Like,
Right.
And
yeah.
he was on the border of adulthood.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that was an appropriate response. I'm glad he wasn't. I'm glad he wasn't like, I was in love with you too, because he was probably like a few hairs shy of 18, and I was like a few hairs shy of 15. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that that wasn't something that
yeah.
he was feeling. I think that's healthy.
Yeah.
We were
Yeah,
on
it's
opposite sides.
All's well that
Yeah.
ends well.
The 3 years is a big difference.
That's a big
when you're
3
that
years.
young. Yeah. Okay. So.
I want to hear this song.
Garage
let-
band
let-
song. Let's
yeah,
hear
let's
it.
Yeah, I
hear
wanna
it.
hear
Here,
the
I
song.
sent it to you. Do you want to?
Oh, would you rather splice in the recording?
I'm gonna play it too. I am the rust that breathes, the crooked hand that feeds, the murky water. All I want is to drench you and me. And if I had all the clocks, I'd turn back the time to when you were free. Free. Call on me, call on me, call on me, call on me until you're gone, 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 gone. Till you're gone, 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 gone. Solely on your light, I rebuild myself. A dozen sours sitting on your shelf. Your lips would be the finest thing, but also be my reckoning as I'll cling to the feathers on your wings. On your wings. Call on me, call on me, call on me, call on me until you're that weariness lingers on like the aftermath of an avalanche, like the aftermath of an avalanche. Call on me, call on me, call on me, call on me until you're gone, 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 gone. Till you're gone, 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 gone. Until you're gone.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know, Kat. That was too good.
Oh, thank you.
That was
That's
too good.
really good.
Reimagined.
Was
Well-
that the title track from the CD?
No, it was like track number 8 or something.
Oh,
There's
Huh.
like 12 or 13 of them. It's pretty outrageous.
I see.
No, that is like a very, very solid song.
Thanks.
I mean, I recognize you're playing it with your present skills, which is why it's kind of cool that we also have your
The
original
recording.
recording of it.
Oh my
This is a
goodness.
unique opportunity.
Would it be weird for editing if we all listened to the recording together?
No,
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Just because, like, I feel like you
we
should
have
experience it.
never yet before on the show had the opportunity to listen side by side.
First time for everything.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Woo!
I love the hiss. It sounds like an old cassette tape.
I am the rust that breathes, crippled hand that feeds, the murky water. All I want is to drench you and me. And if I had all the clocks, I'd turn back the time to when you were free.
I feel like some of your vocal styling is indicating some of the influences you were talking about before.
Probably.
Regina Spektor.
I listened to Regina
Yeah.
too. Call on me, call on me, call on me, call on me until you're gone, 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 gone. Until you're gone, 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 gone.
Were you recording like your guitar and your vocal at the same time?
Yeah,
Nice.
just live tracking.
Yeah.
I rebuild myself.
No, it's really beautiful and intimate.
Dozen towers.
Was it the built-in mic and a laptop?
Oh wow,
Yes.
that
Not
actually
even-
sounds remarkably good for being the
Yeah.
built-in mic.
Well, those mics are amazing. They're like condenser mics. And they also, that hiss is, I think, the fan, right, from the laptop in the background. Yes.
Your wings. Call on me. Call on me. Call on me. Call on me until you're gone, 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 gone. Until you're gone.
Were you into Moldy Peaches?
I was.
Yeah.
Because that was when Juno was out too. So I listened to a lot of
Yes.
Juno soundtracks.
This has Juno vibes, yeah.
It totally does.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that they just did this for Juno. They
Yeah.
took people's live garage band mic tracking.
Sure.
That was also a very influential soundtrack, as I recall. To have this record, just like as in the record of an event, like is really special.
I know. It is really nice to have. There it is.
Oh,
You can hear
man.
me hit the stop button. So cute.
Yeah, I know you didn't even clip out the stop button. I love it. Yeah, and it's so, it's so like beautiful and intimate and sweet and.
It is sweet. And
Yeah.
I spared you the 8-minute,
Sincere.
10-minute tracks because there's a few of those.
That's great. I mean, like,
Before
yeah.
you learn to edit.
Before I realized that that's like not a thing people do.
Yeah, that's
So
like
it-
4 times too long.
So did you kind of like just like throw it on and just go and
Yeah.
yeah.
It was definitely throw it on and go. You know, I would stay up. It's so weird to think about my productivity at the age of 15 versus my productivity as a 31-year-old woman. Because now I'm like, I want snacks. I want to be a burrito. I'm in the bath. Criminal Minds. And me at 15 was like, I'm going to stay up all night and record a whole album. And I'm not
That's
that
amazing.
anymore.
And that's all
I'm
GarageBand.
I'm tired. Like,
I think about that all the time, though, like how like I used to have this like fire.
We were go-getters back then.
Yeah, but now, but you know, also now you like have a job and
There's all kind of bills.
responsibilities of your own that don't, you know, like you know that if you stay up all night now, you're gonna like all the consequences.
I can't
roll
do
over
it.
into the
Hilarious.
rest of your life. We need to rewind because we've skipped a very important period, which is
New York.
New York.
New York.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Ages 21 to 23 or 4. It was like 2013 to 2015. And it was really crazy. You know, it's weird to think about it now because I was doing so much shit that could have just like gotten me killed. I was like, like always doing things the hard way.
Yeah, explain.
Oh yeah, I mean, you pick a card, any card. Carrying your groceries 30 blocks in the snow at
Got
night.
it. Yeah.
Falling asleep on the train. And ending up
Wake
like in
up in
Far
Stanford.
Rockaway.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, gotcha,
going
yeah.
home with random people. Like that's not safe. The drinking, like it gives you a false sense of security. And I ended up in a lot of dangerous situations all the time. I feel like that was like 2 years of like pure chaos and danger on my end. I moved to Philly after that to pay less rent.
Yeah.
And I had a friend there who really sold me on it. And I started going there on weekends to check it out. And I made really good friends there and had a little community. And I decided to take the leap. So I ended up couch surfing for 6 months. The band was still together at that point. And I was going back and forth from Philly. And I had a key to my friend's house there, and I kept my suitcase there, and I kept a few things in storage and at other friends' houses. And I would dog sit and cat sit in New York, and then stay on my friend's couch in Philly or travel or whatever. Did that. It wasn't supposed to be 6 months. It just turned into 6 months. And then I committed to Philly and lived there for another 2 years. And then my band broke up. And then I moved back to California in with my parents and got sober and focused on sobriety.
So that's kind of the fast forward to the musical entity known as Cat Hamilton.
Yes,
then. Yes,
it is the fast forward. I did some stuff as myself during that time, but I was very committed to the band. It was very much a marriage in my eyes, and
Yeah,
you know.
like so, and everyone stayed in New York when you were in Philly.
no, one other person moved to Philly as well.
Oh, that's cool.
A little later,
Nice.
because we were kind of starting to pick up speed there too, and doing a sort of dual life.
But yeah, so did the breakup of the band have anything to do with you deciding to get sober, or was
Yes.
it just
They were very much intertwined.
Oh, interesting.
I was having a really hard time with myself and with alcohol and with life and with relationships. And I wasn't going through the most, how do I put this? I wasn't being kind to myself, and I wasn't being kind to everyone around me. And I made a lot of really short-sighted choices with alcohol involved that caused problems in the band that just weren't repairable. And so if you ask them, they'd probably say it's my fault. I think that's pretty accurate. I wouldn't say it's like that simple.
right? You just
Right.
I
weren't.
wasn't trying to hurt people. I was just really lost in my own pain
Yeah.
Yeah.
and confusion. And again, this kind of idea we talked about when I first sat down here, which is like, do you still love this, or are you just in it because you were still in it?
Yeah.
And I was definitely confronted with that feeling as well of like, I'm hustling, I'm in a punk band, I'm on tour all the time. Like, I couldn't maintain healthy romantic partnerships because my partnership was my band and everything came second. I didn't have jobs. I had gigs to get money to
Yeah.
go back on the road. I lived well below what my comfort was, really, but didn't want to own that, like, I needed to be more comfortable. If that makes sense?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Well, right, comfortable isn't punk.
Yeah, it's not punk, right? So there were all these things. It was power clashing in my life. Like, I'd put the band before and my music before everything else, and then I didn't have anything else. And that feeling was just taking over and consuming me, and alcohol became like something I turned to for comfort and relief. And then it just sort of blew up, and I got drunk and made a fool of myself, and it just caused irreparable damage. And the band broke up, and to my knowledge, most of them are still on the East Coast doing their own thing. I don't know. We're not on speaking terms. I got really into demoing, writing my album Recovery songs at the time, just demoing all the time. Painting, I got really into painting. Because when you take alcohol away and you're a person who didn't realize alcohol was like your entire life.
You have to find things
I
to
had
do.
no idea that alcohol was everything in my life. I had no idea.
Wow.
And so everything had to be like reoriented. You know, what do I do with myself without it? How do I date without it? Like these like basic questions that I didn't even realize had gotten so far away from me.
Yeah. But Recovery Songs sounds like it was kind of the looking the hard thing in the face and expressing it. So like that was like that part of processing. And then, I mean, it's one of those things that kind of, I think, can speak to a lot of people as well, because a lot of people, you know, have some kind of recovery journey. So once you had sort of, I guess, like gone through treatment and like processed like this is the new chapter. What happened then?
It was pretty hard. I mean, you know, I wasn't super excited to be a solo artist at the time because the band was so much of a commitment on my end that I'd committed everything to it. It's, I think, like akin to a marriage. And so I wasn't exactly excited to be single, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I moved to LA because I knew the most people here, but I wasn't that excited to live in LA either. Like, wasn't exactly my first choice. Had it been, I would have lived here a long time ago. But I knew the most people here, and I wasn't ready to start from scratch somewhere and like make all new connections. And I liked being 6 hours from my family in the Bay Area, and liked knowing that, like, me and my parents kind of went on a journey after I started my sobriety of healing old wounds and making a better relationship. And so I felt way more excited about the idea of having this place that I could always come back to if things fell apart, you know, and
really
having
nice.
them.
Oh,
Like,
that's
we have the
nice.
best relationship, and it's awesome. I'm so
That's
happy
so
about
good to
it.
hear.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really
awesome.
beautiful.
It was hard work, though. It's way easier to just like kind of take resentment in and then just keep it and let it build a wall between you and intimacy. It's the easiest thing in the world for me. It's way harder to air it out and try to work on it.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
then I moved here, and you know, I met my bandmate a few years later, and I'm so excited about Guyville and what we do. I love our friendship. You know, we're best friends first, bandmates
Emily
second.
is the coolest.
Emily is the coolest. Like, that is factually accurate. It's double checked, triple checked. I love her. I love what she brings out of me. She's an incredible writer, and an incredible friend. But she's also just like very interesting person to get to know. It would be cool to have her on this podcast.
Yeah.
She's always been so good at like, she does her best, whatever it is. And she always gives her 100.
And I love the fact that you guys are the only people I know besides Terence who love Liz Fair as much as I do.
I love Liz Fair. And Emily reignited that for me too, because like just to be able to share that love with someone, and really the love of all the music. We listened to a ton of Sheryl Crow together. We both freaking love Sheryl Crow.
Yeah.
Reigniting all of the love, talking music, talking shop about it. When we were on tour together last summer, getting all of that uninterrupted car time to just talk was really nice. But yeah, LA has been the best surprise ever. You know, I think it's proof that like sometimes you think you know what's best for you, but you don't, because like that's your ego.
Well, and you're like very deeply part of this musical community that's happening in LA that is really amazing and full of all these incredible people who are also invested in community. And, you know, that is not something that anybody ever talks about in terms of LA.
Totally.
It's all about how like fake and lame people are. It's like, actually, there's a lot of like really
cool people
incredibly
here.
talented people who want to like be part of something and support each other.
Community.
Absolutely. And that is literally like a sentence. If you had asked me like 6 or 7 years ago what I thought of LA, that would have been me. And I ate my words 10 times over. Like, the people here are not what you think they are. Because you come here with a dream, but like to try to build your dream yourself and try to get to where you want to go yourself and make it a you thing is incredibly lonely.
Yeah.
And I think it can only be done for so long before you start going, I'm just too lonely.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, well, and then it kind of comes back to like, do I love it, or is this just that?
Yeah,
Is
that what
for
I'm
myself,
doing?
right?
Am I just here?
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
You know, I hold the dualities constantly every day. Do I love it? Yes. Am I just here? Yes. Like,
Right.
it's both.
Well, that's
That's
why you have a
cool.
solo project and also a duo.
Yeah. And like, I love my duo because it brings out a different side to me and I diversify a lot. Everyone in LA really taught me a lot about that when I got here, where they're like, you don't need to do just one thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different ways to do music. You should do all of them, not just so that you're like exhausted all the time, but so that your ego isn't like always leading you around your life. Like you do a bunch of different projects. Sometimes they pick up heat, sometimes they don't. But like the more you like spread yourself width-wise and like sprinkle yourself in all these different things, the less you're going to be like, I'm a failure if this one thing doesn't happen.
Right. You don't
Yeah.
have to be as invested in the expectations or the outcome of one thing because they've got the other thing.
Totally. It's really important.
We kind of have to wrap
I know,
up,
gotta wrap
but
up.
we need to talk about the album that you are in the process of putting out.
Yes.
Yes, my EP that just came out.
Yes.
In June. Yes. I put out an EP in June. It's called I Wish It Was Love Story. It's like 20 minutes, the whole thing.
That's
it's
great.
It's a quick listen.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
That's like one song on this garagey album I showed you.
Yeah.
20 whole minutes, one whole thing.
Old Cat would have been laughing.
Yeah, she would have been like 20
minutes. That's right.
Right.
Get out of here.
But yeah, it's honestly, I love it. I'm really proud of it. I would listen to it if it weren't mine.
You can still listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And I do. Don't tell anyone. But like,
yeah.
I think that's a
We
big
won't.
deal as an artist to be able to just sit there and be like, you know what? I would actually listen to this if it weren't
That's
me.
nice.
Who made
That's
it.
a really tough thing.
Well, that's the goal, right? Is to
Yeah.
make a product that
Playlistable.
you really believe in.
Yeah.
Like you have to start there.
I really love it. And like, I'm really excited about all the ways other people have connected to it. By no means am I famous or have a million streams, but like, it kind of doesn't matter because I just love when people DM me or text me and tell me what their thoughts were or what they connected to, or, you know, that's that community element again. Like, I feel like gives you like, somebody's like, I loved this song on it. And I'm like, let's get coffee. Let's be real people.
That's
you
so
know?
sweet.
So
Yeah.
congratulations on that. Do you
Thank
want to
you.
play us out with one of the songs?
Yeah. Let's see. You know what? Let's put on, I think that Phoenix is my favorite. Because I love it. It's never anyone else's favorite. It's just my favorite.
Yeah.
But let's put on that song and say goodbye.
I cried at the bottom of the shower. This wasn't hell. I wanted it to be, and all that heat and all its power burned out in the night like a fever dream. When you fell asleep at 5 in the morning, I looked in the mirror at my face. There's a kind of attraction that consumes you in fractions. I didn't notice till it was too late. The phoenix dies in its own fire. I was selfish then and a goddamn liar. The phoenix died, but you'll never know that it carries ashes wherever I go. My rational brain knows that you'll never hear this. If I'm in your ear, listen to me say, would I rather die than hurt you on purpose for the ways that it did? I'll hold a candle of shame. It even flickers in the rain. The phoenix dies in its own fire. I was its ashes wherever I go. I wanted to be with you, but only if you wanted me. The way that I treated you is heavy on my fragile wings. The words that I wrote in that note on your pillow, I meant every word of it. The phoenix dies in its own fire. I was selfish then, and I got that liar. Phoenix died, and you'll never know that I carry its ashes wherever I go. Phoenix dies in its own fire. I was selfish then, and I got that wherever I go. Phoenix died, and you'll never know its ashes wherever I go.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kat. Thank you,
Thank
for
you,
being
Kat.
here.
High five to all the
Thank you for sharing your music. Oh my goodness.
I love her so much. We honestly could have kept going for hours. In fact, there was talk of having a slumber party and recording the whole thing, so look forward to a 6-part series at some point. Her new EP is out. It is fire. You just heard Phoenix from that record, which I'm low-key obsessed with, so please check that out. We're going to share all her socials and links to the resources we talked about in the show notes. Going to share that Winter Break 2007 playlist as well. We link to a lot of the things we talk about in the show notes, so take a look. And hey, follow Kat and follow us on social media. That's Kat Hamilton, and we are the Rockwardness Podcast on Instagram and at Rockwardness on TikTok. This episode comes out Thanksgiving week, and we would just be so thankful if you subscribe to the pod on the platform of your choice, and extra stoked if you rate and review. I'm going to go eat some pumpkin pie or something, so see you next week.